All right. I think we are going to get started here in just a second.
Okay.
All right. Looks like we're live. So,
Oh,
hello,
wow.
everybody. My name is Lori Dufresne. I'm a certified health coach, and I have with me today Laura Luna, and we're going to be sharing some of her story today. It's an amazing one, and I'm excited to turn it over to you, Laura, and share just a little bit about. Why don't you take us back to I guess how many years ago was it when you first got started on your weight loss journey?
It was in 2006 is
Okay.
when I really got serious about it.
Okay. So if you can take us back to that time, and just kind of what was going through your mind, what happened, and just walk us through your journey to health right now, because it's been a journey, and I think that there's so many people that are going to really, really be inspired by you and your story. Because sometimes we think that getting healthy should just be like a straight shot, and it should just be super easy. And I don't know where or how we always get these expectations of what it should be in our minds, but it's not always the way it goes. And your story is so, so inspiring. So I'm excited for you to jump in. So why don't you take us back to 2006 and where it all started?
So what had happened was I had put on a lot of weight. I was in a very stressful uh, environment with ministry and work, and my granddaughter was just born, and actually no, my granddaughter wasn't born yet. My first granddaughter wasn't born yet, but I had just got diagnosed with being diabetic, and it was a stressful time. I kept breaking my feet. I would go door knocking for my business, and as I was going door knocking, I would get cracks, fractures in my feet, and so I broke both my feet twice in 1 year, to the point that I was in a wheelchair. And because I was too heavy to walk, basically. And I would cover it up with a smile and such, those things. But, the weight, I was gaining more and more weight. And then finally, when I went to the doctor, he had told me, uh, Laura, you qualify, you would be a great candidate for gastro bypass surgery. And I was like, what? No, that's for obese people. And he said, yes, you're obese. And that just sunk in me so deep. And then he said I was diabetic and I had a thyroid issue and all these things that just like devastated me, because my family lineage, my grandmother died from diabetes at 61, my father died at 52, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm heading down that road of not living my life because of my health. And at the same time, uh, I found out that my daughter was pregnant, and she was a teen at the time. She was 19. And so I had all these things that were devastating. Like it just seemed like my whole world was crumbling in. And when the doctor told me that I was obese, it just did something to me. Later, later that day, um, my or a couple actually it was a couple weeks later, Javier, my husband Javier, and I, we went to go eat, and he was drawing something on a piece of paper. And this can make me cry. He was drawing something on a piece of paper, and it was our granddaughter's name. Her name's Leah. We had, picked her name, and we were very excited about her. And he wrote her name out. He drew it out, and he's a drawer, so he was coloring it out. And he said, when he looked at me in the eyes, I didn't see him looking at me with like disgust. I seen him looking at me in the eyes with fear that I can shorten my life because of my me being overweight and unhealthy, and then not being able to be here for Leah and be a legacy for Leah. And that just hit me. And that's what made me decide I have to change. And during that same course, because it didn't happen like boom the next day, I got on this journey. I mean, it was a couple, because fat people don't think they're fat, you know. I mean, I don't know if that's just me, but I've been fat and I've been skinny, and fat people don't think they're fat. And so our church at the time was having this prayer and fasting, and I went to go pray and fast, and we were at the altar, and I was praying, and the Lord spoke to me and said, "Ask me to deliver you from the spirit of obesity." And I realized, oh my gosh, I really am obese. If the Lord's even telling me to 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 ask for deliverance. And I realized at that moment, a reality check. What is this weight really about? And I am obese. I am overweight. And I need to change, or I'm going to shorten my life. Period. That's what's going to happen. And then that next day, I went on a quest, and I began to eat a high protein, low carb diet. And I took off the 100 pounds in less than a year. That's what happened.
Awesome. Then what happened?
Then I kept that weight off for a long period of time and felt so awesome and felt top of the world. I became a top producer with my real estate career. I started making new relationships. I felt like people treated me nicer because I was thinner, but maybe that was my own thinking. Do you see? I felt like people liked to be around me more because I was more fit and more fashionable. I was able to wear the clothes that my mind wanted to wear. I was actually able to dress a little bit more fashionable, and I felt awesome. I felt great, and I felt like I was being inspiring to so many, which fueled my fire. And then in 2014, in 2013, Javier and I started a church. And there's a lot of stress involved in birthing and pioneering a ministry. And I realized I started to revert a little bit back to old behaviors, because I would eat my feelings. I would eat when I was sad or depressed or stressed out. And so I started to reverting back to those feelings, those bad habits. But I was a runner. I would run 5 miles, 3 to 5 miles. If I had a bad eating day, if I eat a piece of pizza, well, then no biggie. I'll just go for a run the next day. No biggie. I'll burn it off. I would be involved in boot camps. I made so many friends at boot camp and do all these crazy exercising, mud runs, uh, Avon runs, everything you can think of as far as athletic. I was doing hikes, and every Sunday before church, I would run a couple miles. I would do heavy weights. And so I would exercise a bad diet. You know what I mean? To balance out. It's like, that's how I kept the weight down and kept my size down. I was between a size 4 and a size 6 when I was a size 22 prior. So I knew that exercise was going to be forever. I had to do this forever to keep my weight down. Then in 2016, I went to a women's conference to go speak, and we were driving back, and we were in a car accident. Some friends and I were in a very bad car accident. And the result of that was I broke my neck in 7 places. And that caused a big shift in me. I'm not able to exercise, and I'm healing from lots of injuries. I had a hip injury, just lots of injuries. And my husband had to feed me, and my granddaughter had to help clean me up, and my daughter would have to come, clean me. I had sisters from the church come over and take glass. This was 30 days later, and there was still glass in my head that they had to come take out of my head. And I was grateful to be alive. And I'm healing, at that time, 2016, I'm healing. I'm grateful. People are visiting me, but when people visit you, they bring food. and they bring your favorite kind of food. And they would say to me, it's okay. You've been through so much. Enjoy that. Well, you can't tell a fat girl enjoy that. Like I was big, had big thoughts in my head, you know. I'm like, yeah, I can enjoy this. So I would eat all the different foods. Now it's not their fault. They were so gracious and so kind to bring me food, but I wouldn't just eat a little portion. I would eat a big portion and then double or triple that.
Mhm.
So then what happened was I was starting to get heal and I was getting better and I was starting to walk again. I did one small little walk here in my city. I did a small little walk. I had a little neck brace on, but I was doing great. I was healing. And then in June 2018, we were in another car accident on the highway and the fast lane, and the result of that was again I injured myself, so I couldn't exercise. Now exercise is out of the picture because I had an injured hip, so now it's solely depend on my diet. And I was struggling because now I'm depressed and now I'm sad of why this has happened to me, and I'm blowing up now. My clothes are getting bigger, and I'm looking for the stretchy pants, and I'm looking for things that can kind of expand with me. And you know, you can find those kind of things.
Mhm.
You can find expanding clothes, and then you just stretch right along with it. And
Yeah.
that's what happened to me. Then you know that I we were in another car accident following right after that car accident in October 2018. We were in another car accident, and so by the time when it's all said and done, right before I started Optavia, I had put on 75 pounds of the 100 pounds I had lost, and then that's when I came to you all. What else
So,
you want to know?
oh my gosh, I mean, that's just a remarkable story. It's crazy to think that you've gone through all of that and you're still smiling and you're still here. And thank goodness you have just a new opportunity and a new, I guess, vision of what you want to create. And share a little bit about John and how what he did. So, John, you worked with John, and I'll let you tell the story.
So I work with John, and I've watched John. That can make me cry too because you know when you're heavy, it's very painful to be heavy. It's emotionally painful. And I've known John for a good, I don't know, 15 years maybe, working at Century 21. And I watched him yo-yo diet. I've watched him take weight off and put it on, take weight off, put it on, because I was doing that too for a long time. And then I saw John drop a massive amount of weight and keep it off. And he was so happy and so filled with joy. And I was about to have, this was in September of 2018, I was about to have surgery on my hip from a result of the second car accident. And I was because I knew that when I had the hip surgery, I was going to be in the bed for a while, and now I'm going to put on more weight. So John had been calling me and telling me, "Come on, do this program with me. This will help you." And I kind of like, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do it the healthy way. I'm going to do it, you know, I'm going to count my carbs and I'm going to do organic. And he said, "Laura, I gain all my weight doing organic." And I'll be like, no, I'm going to do this. But then here I was. I remember the day I called him. That morning I called him. My surgery was scheduled for 1 o'clock. I called him about 11 or 10 o'clock. Right, it was right before we were going to go to the hospital. And I said, "Okay, just sign me up. Just sign me up." Because I was desperate. I knew that if I didn't do something, that I am heading in this direction that I was heading in 2006, and I was going to shorten my life. I knew it. I felt it. I was breathing heavy. I was sad, very sad. So so John said, "Come on, do this give me your credit card. Darn it. Give me your credit card."
Well, I think that it's so awesome that,
And
you know, one
luckily, I
person,
gave it to him.
oops, I'm sorry. I think there was a little delay. I love that it's just one man's story can give another person hope. And just thinking that you just watching him around the office and seeing him come in and out, wanting it desperately for yourself, assuming it wasn't going to work for you. And just thinking that, you know, right before you get into surgery, that it's rolling in your mind nonstop, right? We have these internal conversations in our mind that can make us go crazy. And I love that it was like right before you went into surgery that you just thought, okay, like let me get this done. Let me just and there you go. So now to present day. I mean, thank you for sharing your whole journey, because I think sometimes people don't take into account somebody's entire journey. They see somebody with results and they're like, oh, it's easy for them. They don't have a clue. None of us have a clue what is going on for that other person. And sometimes people get stuck in comparative reality, or they just make the assumption that, oh, they've got it easy, or they've got it easy. But it's like I'm honestly, I'm so fascinated by people's stories. And I don't know if it's because I'm a transformational coach that it's just it's like an addiction. It's like, tell me, how are you successful? How are you doing this? And I think if we all had that learner mindset where we ask more questions about people when you do see somebody being successful in an area of life that you want to grow in, instead of kind of becoming more of a judger, like, oh, it's easy for them, become a learner. And that's why we're doing this today. Is we want to spread hope, just as John spread hope to you, that you can spread hope to your friends and your family. And why don't you just share a little bit about this experience, because this has been a healthy mindset experience for you. We all can lose weight in a million different ways, right? That's not the issue for all of us. It's not about how do you lose weight, it's how do you keep weight off. How do you learn how to keep it up? And that's what's so amazing about this program. That's how I've been able to keep off my 30 pounds for 6.5 years. And my husband's been able to keep his 50 pounds off for 6.5 years. It's because we focus on creating a healthy mind, healthy habits. We're very much a habit based program. We take a look at your unhealthy habits and help you to create new healthy habits. And how to fit this into your lifestyle. Like you said, everything's smooth sailing when life doesn't happen. And then life happens, it derails us, it takes us off. You never intended for any of these things to happen in your life, nor do any of the things that happen to us in life. Everything's unexpected. But it's like, how do we deal with situations? How do we stay in structure when we have a lot of overwhelming things happening in our life, derailing us from our path? So tell me about, I mean, it's just been a few short months now, and you're making fantastic progress on this program. You have fallen in love with it. You're helping other people now. It's so exciting to see what's happening in your life. What's making this different for you from anything else? So if you were to speak to all of those people, your friends and family that are listening and thinking, what's Laura doing? Why is this going to work instead of what all these other options are? Why don't you speak a little bit to that? What's been different for this for you?
Well, I think, let me back up a second and say this first, is that, when you lose a lot of weight, and I had a lot of weight, and then to gain it back, I felt so embarrassed to run into people. I would feel so ashamed to go to women's conferences and see that have gained weight. And I would feel so um, mortified, basically. So when John told me about this program, I knew, and the reason why I like it so much is because it's kind of like a no-brainer. Like, you do the program, you eat your healthy food that you're allowed to eat. You get to have a lean and green meal. You get to have, I could still have meals with my friends. I could still have meals with my husband. I can still have meals at a women's conference. And that is what's kind of steered me on. Like, okay, I can incorporate this into my busy life. I can still go to the movies with my grandkids and enjoy them. Like, it's changing my mindset about I can enjoy them. And then what's happening is I feel like now I have hope. Like, I have a program that I know that number one, it works if you stick to it, because there have times I haven't stuck to it. If you stick to it, it works, and it can get you healthy, and it could build relationships, because now instead of focusing everything around food, I'm focusing around my family now. When I'm with them, it's not so much about the food, it's more about connecting with them. Did I get off track?
No, you're good.
Am I on track?
You're sharing why it's different. You're sharing why it's different. Absolutely.
And that's what's different about it, you know, is that I have a structure.
Mhm.
This is different because there's structure, and you can move the lines a little bit. Like, I can change when I want to have my lean and green. I don't have to have it exactly at 6 o'clock. I mean, I can kind of change it around. And so I love the structure of it. And I love that I can work that around other events and family time. And another thing that's different about it is that I don't have to see, my thing was exercise before. I can't, I'm not saying I will never be able to, but I don't have the same body that I had prior to my accidents. So this program is different because of the food. I don't have to think about what I'm going to make. I don't have to think about how many carbs are in something. And it's all diet. It's all, yes, I can walk and do some things, but it's more focused on nutrition. And that's what makes it different. And what makes it different is that there's actually good stuff in the food. It's not like all this, you know, sugar substitute stuff. So I feel good about that the food is actually healthy, and that's what's different about it. I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's balanced nutrition. It starts, fighting inflammation and, healing your body from the inside out. You start feeling amazing. Your energy kicks in. It affects all areas of your life. And I'm just so proud of you, because I think when you mentioned shame, I think that is such a very common thing that most people experience. They feel embarrassed. They feel like they just don't want to even show up anymore. It's like, I don't want people to see me. They don't show up in their life anymore. They go into hiding. And really, I mean, I just challenge everybody to just ask themselves, this is your life. Like, how involved do you want to be in it? And how much do you want to hide? Because if this is our life that we're given here on earth, wouldn't you want to live it out to your best ability? Think about the people in your life that are counting on you to be a fully present member of their life. If you're a parent or a wife or a husband or a grandparent, think about so many times. I've worked with so many people over the past 6.5 years of coaching. And one of the biggest things that most people say is that they're sitting on the sidelines of life. They're not participating in the pictures. They're not the pictures. I'll hold the camera. Think about the memories that are lost because of that. I personally don't have the best memory. So I rely on pictures. I rely on video to remind me of certain times in my life, and thinking that if you're not in there, you're cheating not only yourself out, but you're cheating your family out of participating in their life as well. And it's just, there's no need to focus on shame when you could put all that negative energy you're putting into shame. You're still putting energy out. Like, you might as well put that energy into empowering yourself to start taking on your life and finding the right tools to support you. And I don't know, I really encourage you, if you're listening to this today, to just reach out to Laura or reach out to me, whoever it is that you're friends with. to just start with a conversation. I know before I got started, there was a lot of fear. It took me about 4.5 months just to reach out to my friend who was posting some stories of people she was helping on social media, on Facebook. And all I could do is say, was like, I was so drawn to it. Like I couldn't get enough of it, but I was telling myself and convincing myself for so long that I it's not going to be for me. And I was embarrassed to reach out to her because I thought, what if I fail? Like, this is my friend. I'm going to be embarrassed if I don't, keep up. But I just encourage you to not focus on the fear. And if there's even a little inkling of you that is desiring change in your life, we are transformational coaches. We are not diet coaches. It doesn't start with weight loss. It starts with designing the life of your dreams. And when you get yourself in a place where you have a crystal clear picture of what you want more of in your life, I promise you this, when we customize your eating plan, it is going to be so simple to follow. But if you just focus on the weight loss, I promise you're going to just continue staying in the same place that you're at, continue struggling, continue fighting it and battling it every single day. If you just take that one leap of faith and just start with a phone conversation to just say, what does this look like? What could it look like for me? And just ask yourself the question. I always like to encourage people to make educated decisions. Instead of saying no, get the information you need, and then you can make the educated decision on if this is a fit for you or not. And I just hope you hear our hearts on this today. We put ourselves out there doing things that are uncomfortable, being vulnerable in front of
Yes.
Facebook. It's
Yes.
an uncomfortable thing, correct? But we do
It's
it.
so uncomfortable.
It is, and you've done fantastic. And I'm so thankful
I'm
that you did.
showing everybody my belly. It feels like,
Yeah.
I'm being very vulnerable.
It is, and it's so awesome that you did that. So, I mean, congratulations for doing that, Laura. I mean, that even ups your commitment to yourself to making this happen. And it's going to happen. You're still on your journey. I think
Yes.
this is the best time for your friends and family to join you while you're on your journey, and you get to
Yes.
do it together. And I love another thing when we spoke the other day. I love that you said that it hasn't been perfect for you, you know, and nobody expects you to be perfect. The journey hasn't been perfect, but you are making progress every single day. And that progress over perfection is what's going to see you to your goal and beyond your goal. And I just, any parting words, any last words that you wanted to say?
I just think I'm grateful that I get another shot at this. Years ago, God gave me a vision that we have one chance to serve. We do have one chance to serve, but we have one chance to live on earth, to live on this earth. After earth, there's you'll live somewhere else, but there's one chance to live on earth. I live it halfway, live it to the fullness. And that's where I'm at now. I don't want to live on the sidelines. I don't want to live uh, living vicariously through my daughter or my sons. I want to live my life. And I want to live my life in a way to lead others to a right path, whatever. Does that make sense? So I think I would like to leave it with, you have one chance to live it to the fullness, to the fullest. Don't hold back. I did a post the other day. If you want to go on a trip, go on that trip. If you want to write a book, write the book. Because really, what holds us back? Let's just go for it and live our life. And that's where I'm at. And that's where what I would hope for my daughter, my spiritual daughters, my friends, my children, my grandchildren, that they would live their life with passion to the fullest, and that means being healthy, so you can live a long life on this earth.
Absolutely. I love it. And I love that you're taking and finding purpose in your pain. You've gone through a lot of pain, a lot of struggle. and now you're turning it around for good. And by you overcoming this, God's using you to help empower other people and giving them the hope that they can do it as well. And I love that you are doing that. I love seeing your heart and your soul into helping other people. And it's a beautiful place to be, and not going victim to your circumstance, because you very well could have, with all of those accidents and losing the weight and gaining it back and everything. A lot of people choose to go victim, and you are a beautiful, beautiful example of how to be a victor and push through and push yourself and continue focusing on the beautiful life you have in front of you. So thank you for setting such a beautiful example for so many people. I'm so glad I got to meet you, and that you came into my life, and it's just been a blessing, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for you, Laura, and all the people you're going to help. So
Thank you.
You're
Thank you, Laura.
all right. Have a great day. Have a good day, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.